Hi, I'm Marcel, and welcome to my presentation on the D&D Bard and how they're more than just a lecture. So what exactly does the Bard do? Bard flavor text describes them as minstrels who sing songs and play music about stories, scribes that regale legends and histories and cultures from around the world, or as mass manipulative menaces. As a bard, you're very versatile and you have a few supportive abilities. First and foremost, there's your bardic inspiration, which as a bonus action you can use on ally to give them a little extra bonus that increases as you level to on their d20 tests. As a bard, you're also able to pull a few spells from other class spell lists when preparing your own spells. This is somewhat limited, but most other classes don't get to do this at all, so your bard boons. First of all, you have bardic inspiration, and a little bonus to certain very important d20 rolls is always going to be helpful. Secondly, you have full spellcasting, and while I do love martial classes, spellcasting is just so good and versatile, and it allows you to do so much. It's just better. And lastly, there's your versatility. You're a jack of all trades. That's one of your abilities, by the way, which lets you add half of your proficiency bonus to skills you don't even have proficiency in. That alongside the inherent versatility of spellcasting and also getting to pull from other spellcaster spell lists, the Bard is a very versatile class. Now onto your Bard Banes. Bardic Inspiration may be a little underutilized. I don't know exactly how to quantify it, but it just feels like Bardic Inspiration could do more for the base Bard class. The subclasses do allow you to use your Bardic Inspiration for other effects, but I have certain opinions on that, which I will get into later. Furthermore, there's that joke of people always forgetting their Bardic Inspiration, so I feel like there could be a little bit more impact to what Bardic Inspiration allows. I don't know what the fix would be, but it just feels like that's there. The Bard subclass options are somewhat weak among the classes. I wouldn't say there's a lot of very strong things you gotta do from the subclass. It's more mainly base class abilities that you're looking at for that. Additionally, the Bard just seems like a little guy kind of class as compared to the flavor of a lot of other classes, and that may also work its way into my perception of them a little bit. While having the ability to cast spells is very good, what isn't very good is charisma casting. Unlike other classes, you don't get to prepare your spells every day. Instead, you have your set known spells that you may get more of later on, and that's it. Those are the spells you get. You can change them on level ups, but once you hit level 20, you better like what you have because you really can't change your spells anymore. I never liked this for charisma casters. I thought it was a stupid restriction. Why are wisdom and intelligence casters able to choose their spells, and for whatever reason, bards and sorcerers and warlocks just can't? The next one isn't really a bane per se, but counter charm sucks. It doesn't do a lot. It's better now because you don't have to use, I believe it was a bonus action to even activate it. Now it's just something you can do if it comes up, but it's really weak. Now we're getting to your subclasses. First and foremost, you have the Lore Bard. This is the most like your sort of scribe, storyteller version of the Bard, where they go around collecting stories and myths from parts of the world, histories, and ideas, concepts, and you tell them to other people. For a Lore Bard, the quill is their instrument of choice. As a lore bard, you get cutting words, which allows you to hamper your opponent's ability checks and attack rolls, which, while being really good, firstly, I think this should just be something that the bard is able to do anyways, and secondly, it feels somewhat inappropriate for the lore bard. It doesn't seem to fit with the flavor, in my opinion. It feels like it would be better suited for, say, a Whispers Bard or an Eloquence Bard, but those would come later, and a lot of WotC's recent decisions really prove that they can't see into the future. So, being able to use your Bardic Inspiration on yourself is also really good, but coming at level 14 is a little too late for that ability. It's not very high impact. Also, it's not even your full Bardic Inspiration. It's only for ability checks. Level 14 for that? Next up, we have the Valor Bard. Valor Bards tell tales of those in combat, of chivalry and honor, or just whatever else military affairs. Firstly, you can add your Bardic Inspiration bonus to yours or allies' damage rolls, which makes them really good combat bards. And then later you get other combat abilities, which are fine. Extra attack is something that most combatants or melee combatants want. It's whatever. The dance bard is a bard who chooses their body as their instrument, stories being retold through their movements rather than their words. The dance bard is able to make unarmed attacks after using their bardic inspiration, or is able to expend it to increase theirs and allies' initiative, or to be able to move more. Leading evasion works like a rogue's evasive ability, allowing them, but also an ally within 5 feet, to essentially dodge saving throw attacks. I think it would be fine if a version of leading evasion that works like the rogue's evasive ability came to the bard at level 6. Therefore, they would still be getting it after the rogue would get their evasive ability, but then upgrading it at a higher level once the power level is more right to be able to allow an ally to also gain benefit from it. Other than that, the dance bard has a lot of abilities and flavor that lead into being quick and agile and allowing for movement. You're not performing a waltz, but a salsa or a tango, some swing, and the tempo's only going to get quicker. The glamour bard is one of those bards that definitely could fit into the ditzy, lecherous type that a lot of people may make their bards because they're all about looks and beauty. They can use their bardic inspiration to give allies temporary hit points and also be able to move again. I don't really know how that fits into the whole vibe of, oh, I'm so pretty, but it's good. Their other abilities allow them to charm and somewhat control creatures, which is fine overall. Not much for me to really say about them. The Whispers bard works much like a glamour bard in that they are about controlling people, except now it's through fear instead of charm. You can use your bardic inspiration for extra psychic damage on your damage rolls, and that's alright. Additionally, the Whispers bard is very much so about manipulation and causing fear in opponents to control them. Next we have the Swords bard. This is what the Valor bard wishes it was. As a Swords bard, first and foremost you get a fighting style, something that other martials get but the Valor bard doesn't, so now you can be the frontline fighter instead of telling tales about your other party members and their antics. You also get Blade Flourish, allowing you to use your bardic inspiration when you attack for various effects. Later on, this will be upgraded. Blade Flourish is very cool and very good, and why would you ever pick a Valor Bard when Blade Flourish is so cool? The Creation Bard is all about creating things through song and serenade. Literally, you can just create things out of nothing. They have to start small, well, medium and smaller, and you can only make one thing at a time. However, as you level, your creations can get bigger, and eventually you can make multiple things at a time. This is very versatile and very good. For your bardic inspiration use, you don't get a unique ability by expending bardic inspiration per se, but you can use an upgraded form of bardic inspiration. And finally, we have the Eloquence Bard. Your performance hall is the debate stage, and you're about to show your opponent exactly why you have a +5 to charisma and proficiency in persuasion and deception. Unselling words is the other half of cutting words. You're able to hamper an opponent's saving throw ability with your bardic inspiration. Once again, I feel like that should just be part of the basic bard kit, but it's good. Then there's Unfailing Inspiration, which allows someone to keep their bardic inspiration if they fail the dice roll that they used it on. Again, shouldn't this just be part of the regular bard toolkit? Now, what's really good about the Eloquence Bard, which I really like, is Infectious Inspiration. This allows multiple allies to gain the benefits of inspiration even though you've only expended it once on one ally. It's more limited on the second ally, I believe, but more inspiration is good. So, overall, the bard can be a minstrel, a songstress, a scribe and writer, a mass manipulator, or just a lecher. I mean, if you want to just be a lecher, that's also fine. It's not the best class in terms of strength. It's not very strong from my experience and what I know of it. And even though I might be ragging on it and its subclasses a little bit in this video, I actually really like it in terms of flavor and the different subclasses and just how the class feels overall, even if it may not be great. But those were just some of my silly little comments on the bard. Feel free to share your own, or how wrong my opinions may be. Either way, it works for me.